Yeah, everybody's nodding. Good. Go on, sir.
Hello, my name is Girish and I'm from India. Well, since we're talking a lot about diversity in Singapore, I was just thinking that India had largely a very similar time span, and if you look at the diversity, it had a very similar endowment in terms of diversity in belief systems, diversity in populations, and well, in some ways, similar colonial past. So given the same, India, however, has chosen to take a different route and a different approach to things. And some might say that there is a lot that India could perhaps learn from Singapore, a major difference being in the size and therefore perhaps in the agility and the ability to enforce that Singapore has. So would you have some things that India could learn perhaps, or countries like India could learn from Singapore?
Well, good. I'm going to stop you. Good question. I mean, in a nutshell, you're a very small nation. India's a bloody huge nation. Mm-hmm. But are there some universalities here that could apply across?
Right. You want to answer that, just that one by itself?
Yeah, go on.
Okay,
go on.
well, maybe a fairer comparison is to look at India compared to other large, complex societies, and China is a good example. India has the great advantage of a democracy, which ultimately I think is the most sustainable political system that we know of. But it doesn't have the advantage of accountability of elected representatives. China, in a curious way, despite not having a democracy in the political sense, has a very high sense of accountability on the part of its leaders. That isn't so for all authoritarian regimes, but it is so for China. And they have created a culture of accountability. I think India can create a culture.
I'm slightly baffled.
I think India can, we can come back to that if you want to.
Well, we don't have time.
I think India can create that culture. There's no reason why democracy should not have a culture of accountability with it. It just means that middle-class voters especially have to hold people accountable for what they promised and to see if they deliver. And it can be done.
All right, well,